Welcome to Guild Talk. I'm Bob Mitchell, and what Guild Talk is just it's going to be a weekly segment where basically me and some other members of the Dice Guild will come and talk about some different things. We may just some different things that bother us in the hobby, that we like in the hobby, things that we like to do. But tonight, I thought I would just talk about myself for a little bit, because why would you be watching this channel? Why do you care what I have to say about games? But I've been playing these type of board games for about 3 or 4 years. I really started in the hobby in 1995 playing Warhammer 40K and played it all the way up to 5th edition, and then after they changed the rule set to a 6th edition, I didn't really agree with the rule set. I thought they were getting away too much from what their players wanted, more what they wanted. So when I was looking out for something else to do for a hobby, I came across Settlers of Catan. One of my friends who's still in the group had it, and we played it quite a bit. And we just went into other games like Ticket to Ride and things of that sort, and it just grew into a hobby. And it's been that way ever since. So, what else is there about me? Well, I'd like to talk about what my top 10 games are ever. So, basically, how I wrote this list is I have to own the games, and they are just the 10 games that I've played in the past 3 or 4 years that have really stuck to me, that I'll always go back to playing, and will continue to do so. So, without any further ado, we'll start my top 10. My number 10 is Pandemic Legacy. Pandemic Legacy, of course, it's a legacy game, which means basically you only play through the game once. But it'll be around anywhere from 12 to 24 games. I've heard a lot of people talk about how it's just Pandemic with an overarching story, and that's not entirely true. The mechanics of the game change throughout each month you play, and without going into any spoilers, we just finished the month of September, and right now the game pretty much no way resembles where we started out with Pandemic, and the game has to be played in a different way. So if you play through it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I love Pandemic Legacy. As a matter of fact, once we play through it this time, we've already talked about maybe buying another copy and playing through it again with different people. But and then none of us make the decisions. But that's my number 10, Pandemic Legacy. My number 9 is Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories is an older game, but it's a fun co-op game. But it's a co-op game that'll kick you in the teeth. And sometimes I just like that. It's so much fun to play. Never actually beat it. We've never actually beat the game. So but it is fun. It's that just that thrill of working hard in order to get a goal, and then maybe with the luck of the dice and just some strategy involved, you could possibly win. But it's just one of those games, and if I ever win, I'll probably throw a party. But that's my number 9, Ghost Stories. My number 8 is Lords of Waterdeep, worker placement game. I picked this up a couple years ago at Gen Con. I've got it and the expansion. This is one of the games that really catapulted me into the hobby full force. And it's a fun game. It does, with the expansion, it does take a little bit. I think the game works best with 4 players. But it's a great, excellent worker placement game. And if you have any friends that may have played Dungeons & Dragons before, that you may want to get into the hobby, then this is the perfect game to do it. So my number 8 is Lords of Waterdeep. My number 7 is Star Realms. Star Realms is a deck builder, which is one of my favorite, if not my most favorite type of game. I love deck builders. I just love the strategy that's involved, and Star Realms is got that common market system that's kind of fun to use, and of course, and it's really quick. It plays great with 2 people. With 3 and 4 people, it kind of gets a little convoluted, but it plays great with 2 people. Also plays great in a tournament setting. So it's got some really cool artwork, and just it's science fiction, and it's just right up my alley. So Star Realms, my number 7. My number 6 is Lords of Vegas by Mayfair Games. This is an older game as well. The components need an overhaul tremendously. I just don't understand why paper money came with this game when poker chips seem to would have worked better. But beyond the fact that the components are terrible, it is a good game. Just the idea of working the whole game and then being able to, with the luck of a die, be able to take over an entire casino. The whole game, it's just tremendous fun, and I would recommend it to anybody that would maybe have liked Monopoly or a game like that growing up. This is more of a specialized version of that same type of thing. So my number 6, Lords of Vegas. My number 5 is Pandemic from Z-Man Games. I know earlier for my number 10 was Pandemic Legacy. You may ask that why 2 of basically the same game are on this top 10. Well, the reason being is I don't see Pandemic Legacy as the same game as Pandemic. Pandemic is a fun co-op. Basically probably the best co-op on the market right now. And it's a great game. It's just simple to learn, but very difficult to master. So that is my number 5, Pandemic. My number 4 is Dead of Winter from Plaid Hat Games. Dead of Winter, a semi-co-op game of zombies trying to survive a zombie invasion, basically just taking your little group in the colony and completing your task. It has a trader element, it has zombies, it's got some cool characters. I just recently got the expansion for this, but I have not had time to play more than just one game of it yet. But Dead of Winter, my number 4. My number 3 is Suburbia from Bezier Games. Suburbia is basically SimCity in a box. I grew up playing SimCity, and I looked for a while for a really good city building game. I picked up Suburbia about a year ago and have never looked back. It's a great game, and I would recommend it for anybody with a that wants to play a city building game, that loves SimCity growing up. I would recommend it to anybody. So my number 3, Suburbia. Alright, my number 2 is Dominion. It's a deck builder, probably the deck builder that just opened a flood of deck builders in the market. I used to play Magic the Gathering. This game kind of appealed to me. One of my friends gave me this. It's why my copy's kind of beat up. But I have Dominion. I have quite a few of the expansions, and I love the fact that you can shuffle in the randomizers, and the game just changes each time. I know I'll get a lot of hate on this because Dominion gets a lot of hate, but I still think it's a good game, and I still think it's pretty strong mechanically. Yes, it's a pacing-on theme, but I think mechanically the game is really sound. So my number 2, Dominion. And my number 1 game is X-Wing the Miniatures game from Fantasy Flight. I am a Star Wars nut. I've been since as long as I can remember. I remember growing up watching Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi on Thanksgiving Day on CBS when they would play it. I'm fascinated with everything Star Wars. So when this came out, this just was a good fit for me. I enjoy the competitive aspect of it. I enjoy the fact I can just put X-Wings down on a table and fight against TIE fighters. I enjoy the fact I get to say pew 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 noises every time I roll a dice. It is a fun game. It has a very strong competitive environment. It's very healthy competitive, much more so than Warhammer when I was in that competitive scene. So my number one game, X-Wing, the miniatures game from Fantasy Flight. So there you have it. That's my top 10 games that I enjoy at this moment in time. This list will probably change the more and more games I play. My collection, I only have around 80 games, a bunch of which that are sitting right off here off camera. I have not had a chance to play it. But our gaming area is not very big. I live in a rural area in Kentucky. So finding games with more than one or two people at a time is very difficult. But we do the best we can. And if you have any questions or any complaints, just post them in the comments section. Or you can email me at thediceguildgaming@gmail.com. But thank you for watching. And next week we will have a new guild talk. And thank you for watching. And I will see you next week.